The long line of autobiographies written by professional wrestlers. Canada's Jericho, who's been out of the business for 2 years, has a new one on shelves entitled A Lion's Tale Around the World in Spandex. Recently, Jericho discussed his literary work with a man who's also very fond of spandex, our own Glenn Sheeler.
You don't have to be a wrestling fan to understand and enjoy the story of international superstar Jericho. Growing up in Winnipeg from as early as he could remember, Jericho always wanted to be a wrestler. And from the Stu Hart Wrestling School in Alberta to his rise to the top of the business, Jericho recalls his life in a clever, entertaining way only he could deliver in his new book, A Lion's Tale Around the World in Spandex.
You once wrestled for a hot dog and orange juice. If that were me, I'd quit on the spot.
Yeah, I was at a kid's birthday party too. I got Kedzo the Clown for my 7th birthday. This kid got 3 matches plus ring entrances. So, and then I got paid in condiments basically. So it was a very auspicious debut.
The Jericho curse, hilarious. You know, your debut at any company is just always the worst match of your life. Has that curse ever drifted over into your real life in any way?
The first time I had sex was the Jericho curse, pretty much. Yeah, just whatever happened, whenever I started working for a new company, it just would stink out the joint. No matter what I was doing or where I was, it was just kind of one of these things. So now the fact that I've worked in every company, I think that I pretty much beat the curse now.
Now I'm going to get straight to the point tonight because it is so apropos that one of the greatest performers in Raw history, moi.
Before Jericho became a star, he was known as one of the best technical and high-flying wrestlers in the business. But it wasn't until he learned to master his craft on the microphone that he became a complete entertainer and ultimately the superstar that he still is today, even though he's been out of the ring for over 2 years.
I'm not the biggest guy, I never was going to be, so I had to try and have the biggest persona and the biggest, you know, over-the-top character. And I always wanted to be like, you know, a rock star in the ring, David Lee Roth, Paul Stanley, someone that would just, you know, run the crowd wherever they wanted him to run, kind of be the puppet master and make sure everybody had a good time. And that really benefited me by the time I got to the WWE because I had all these years of experience working in all these different places, plus I was really focusing on this character to do something different that had never been done before.
You lost some 2 very close personal friends, I think both since the time when you left wrestling.
Yeah.
Did that play a factor at all in, you know, you staying away from it for a while, or?
No, I stayed away. I was just mentally fried. And then after Eddie passed away, just basically after I left, and that was, you know, that was one of the brothers, man, you know, and then Chris just passing away a couple months ago. That one was very hard as well. But I think the time. I think it actually helped me to think maybe I should go back into the business because there's not a lot of guys left like those guys that, you know, that, like the way that we all trained overseas in Canada and Mexico, hard-hitting style. It bothers me that you know, you never hear anything about the good side of the business, which is 90% of it. You just hear about the bad side. Name me any other kind of a live sporting event or entertainment that if they drew 80,000 people would not have any Main Street coverage whatsoever. I mean, you look at a WrestleMania in Toronto in 2002, or Seattle in 2003, or even last year in Detroit. Where was all the, you know, CNBCs and the CNNs and the Entertainment Tonights? 80,000 people, 1 million people on pay-per-view. Nobody, it's like the stepchild of the entertainment world, and it's show business boot camp. Guys on this job can do anything. I think there's very much a stigma about who wrestling fans are. At this point in time, there's doctors, there's lawyers, there's entertainers, everybody's a wrestling fan. If you get it, it's one of the best forms of entertainment in the world.